CEO Ronald from Creating the Difference got that command solid today. But we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to compare it to an obsession tour, and we're going to do it with Austin, who is two-handed. So let's take a look at the obsession tour first, and we will then take a peek at the command solid ball, new ball coming out from Columbia 300. Looks like it's going to be a super strong piece. We want to give you guys a little different view this time. So we got somebody who throws it with just two hands. Look at that. He's a big fan of that obsession tour, which is definitely one of the good pieces coming out of the Hammer camp. So we'll have him throw it again. I want to get just a couple of shots there with that ball, and then we'll do a comparison and see how this command solid compares. Now, both these balls are both asymmetric. The command solid has a stronger asymmetry than the obsession tour, but nonetheless, it'll allow us to see kind of the strengths and weaknesses. Nice trip, 4 right there. Those shots are pretty close too. So let's let Austin grab this brand new command solid, and let's see how it compares. So he'll play the same line, do the same thing. We're gonna see how the ball reaction or ball motion is different. Really good pitch. Woo! That one hooks. She definitely hooks. Stronger piece. He'll get himself a full rack there. I'm gonna take a look at that ball. Let's see how it flared actually. That's the first shot with that ball, so you can see got a nice, good flare pattern there. The oil is absorbing in the ball nice and well like it's supposed to. Let's throw that piece again. That definitely was stronger. I was surprised though, it wasn't really that early. It wasn't very early. It was still, got down the lane for a chunky ball there, and definitely was very, very strong. So that one's in a little bit, you can see. All right, so we kind of expected that to hook up a little bit early. That was in. Austin is a two-handed player, throws at 18 miles. And as a matter of fact, we can show you, look at this. We can just show you. We ain't got to talk about it. We can just show you. Here's his specs. RPM launch, speed launch board. So he'll get a fresh rack and throw that ball again for us. If you like what you're seeing here, make sure you go over to our website, bowlingforless.com. You can actually pick up this ball when it drops. Wide to right. So it does have a traction type shape to it, right? So traction type motion means once it hooks kind of early, like it's supposed to, right? When it makes that move, then it kind of begins to roll forward. That's what you are looking for when you're bowling on a heavy oiled environment. That's what you're looking for when you need a bowling ball that gives you some control down lane. That is the bowling ball that you need when you're bowling on sport patterns too. So this ball definitely has some utility. It definitely is going to be one of those pieces that it's not the boomerang balls, right? So he's not going to be able to hook the whole lane with the ball because it does begin to roll forward like it's supposed to. Remember, they've got the other command bowling ball that's more angular. This ball is definitely meant to be more contraction, and you can see that shape. That shape is definitely much more of an aggressive traction reaction. So I'm going to have you just kind of bump it a little bit, and we'll get the ball a little further right because that should get us close enough to the pocket where we can get a nice solid strike. It's interesting though, right? So because it is a traction ball, it's one of those pieces that you would not use for a lot of games, but when that ball is in play, you definitely will be glad you have it because it will give you a solid, consistent reaction. There we go. Just like that, just like that. So we'll throw one more shot. Actually, let's keep that line right there and let's throw the obsession tour there. I'm kind of curious to see the difference in performance because that obviously was lined up to the pocket. So now I'm kind of curious to see how that obsession tour rolls in that same type of situation. Pretty close, a little further wide, right? So in on the front and out on the back, and didn't quite recover. No worries, no worries. Let's throw it again. Obviously, we won't want to follow this line because this line is the shot we just threw. But nonetheless, we'll get in a little bit of that. Just kind of do a little comparison. But you can see two different shapes, right? So the obsession tour is a continuous piece. So when you watch it go down the lane, once it begins to make that move toward the pocket, it's continuous. It doesn't stop or stand up or roll forward like the command solid does. There we go. So continuous, 10 back. But let's throw that command solid one more time. I like that ball. That ball definitely is going to be a ball that you may want to add to your bag if you need something that's for the heavier oil, if you need something that's stronger, or picks up a little bit earlier, or like I said, bowling on sport patterns. People underestimate the power of contraction bowling balls on sport patterns. Definitely want something like that if you're bowling on a sport pattern. Wide right. You can see how it makes that shape but doesn't keep going, and that's because it's a traction type ball roll. And you say, okay, Ron, well, we want to not use this ball. Well, simple. If you're bowling on a pattern that does give you a lot of free bump to the right and does create and allows you to have bowling balls that will corner and make a lot of angle, this is the wrong time to throw this ball. But if you're bowling on a tournament and it's hard, and you're bowling on a tournament and it's long, or you're a low rev rate player, I mean, Austin's two-handed and his rev rate's 500, so this bowling ball is definitely one of those pieces that, that was a ring 10 pin. Definitely one of those pieces that, for him, is going to be useful when he needs to control the lane, when he needs to control the pocket. So you say, man, you know what? That last shot I threw was pretty good. I'm 10 backing it. But what happens if I want to change the performance of the ball, right? Because this ball is 500, 1,500 from the factory. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to polish his bowling ball. He's going to follow me. I'm going to polish his bowling ball. You're going to watch kind of how we can do that real quick. So we got our bowling ball here. Look at the track flare. You see all the track flare on the ball, a lot of track flare. Good looking ball, by the way, too. So what we can do, though, is we can use a little bit of True Cut hand applied polish powered by Turtle Wax. And what we'll do is we'll just rub some of that on. Now, you say, man, is that going to make the ball super shiny? No. Why? Because the surface grid of this ball is 500, 1,500 from the factory. So if we want to get this ball to be super shiny, or like the 5,500 that it says, we'd have to have this ball at 3,000 grit and then P5000D and then do this to it to get the ball super shiny. However, you can change the surface of the ball and change your ball reaction by going over the factory surface, which is exactly what we're going to do here. And you say, well, what is this going to do for a traction ball? Well, for a traction ball, what this does is this is going to allow you to have a little bit more length before it begins to make that move. If it makes the move later down the lane, that's going to allow you to have a little bit more continuation. It isn't going to make the ball angular. It isn't going to make the ball super continuous, but it will definitely give you a little bit more room for error, especially if the ball's hooking a little too early. And you can see how quickly we're being able to shine this ball up. Like I said, it's not going to be glowing in the dark, but you're definitely going to be able to watch and see that there's going to be a reaction difference by just using True Cut hand applied polish. And that's one of the things. This polish was actually designed to be used by hand, whereas polishes aren't really designed to do that. Polishes are designed to be used with the ball spinner. So we got that. We're going to use a little bit of Wow Factor ball cleaner. I'm actually going to spray it on here just to wipe off the excessive polish. All right, flip it over here. Okay, so now the ball is shinier and ready to be thrown again. You can see that, nice and shinier there. So not glowing in the dark, but definitely more than it was. So his last shot struck, so we'll have him repeat that shot and let's see the difference in ball reaction. Little wider right, but the ball, I mean, look how far, you can see how far wide right that ball was. And the ball did come around the corner, right? It did come around the corner a lot more. He left the 5 pin, the ball was weak because it was too far right, but nonetheless, there was definitely more shape and more in a down lane fashion. So this is gonna allow him to have more room for error by allowing him simply to change the surface of his bowling ball. And like I said, the ball's not glowing in the dark. The ball's not super shiny in appearance, but nonetheless, the ball is definitely getting down the lane further than it was before. So now we'll make a good pitch. Like that. And definitely splits the 8-9. Nice. Just like you like it to. Let's do one more thing, just one more thing for the fans. So I want you to bump in a little bit more and get it just a little further out, because I believe now with that ball pushing just a little bit further than it was, it will corner a little bit harder than it did before. So we'll move it just a little bit, get it just a little bit further out, and watch it come around the corner. Like I said, it's not going to turn into an angular ball by any means, but it becomes more useful. And this is a little tip for two-handed players. You can keep the ball with a little bit of surface on it and still, watch it, bang, just like that. And still get the bowling ball to do what you need it to do when you are bowling in an environment that dictates the ability to change the surface before or after competition. So on behalf of Austin, my name is Ronald Hicklin, CEO from Creating the Difference. You now have more information about that brand new Command Solid from Columbia coming to you soon. Go to bowlingforless.com and pick you up one of those bowling balls. If you like this video, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you as always. For that being said, we're out of here. Talk to you soon.